Here we have a dark square in the middle of the screen which is only lit by ambient lighting. We can now toggle diffuse lighting based on this light over here. And finally, specular lighting. If we change the light color, it also affects the way in which this square is illuminated. And finally, we have this list of materials which all react differently to the light being shone on it. Light casters affect the way in which light moves around a scene. This is a standard point light, which means it's shining light in all directions. But we could also have a spotlight. This spotlight can be rotated around. Finally, we could have a sun, and this shines light from all places in the scene from the same direction, as if there was a sun infinitely far away and infinitely large. This square has the texture of this top image that we see here. However, it reflects light relative to this second image. This is a specular highlight map. Now I have enabled normal mapping using the third texture, which affects the direction in which light shines based on how it hits this surface. We can also use this bottom texture as a displacement map, which gives the illusion of a 3D surface. Finally, we can draw on any of these textures. We can make everything more shiny. We can make light in a certain area only shine from a certain direction. And we can affect the displacement in our displacement map. In the top right, we can see the light's perspective of this scene. The closer this cube that's rotating around is to the light, the darker it will be. In the bottom left, this same depth sample is projected onto our scene. And in the bottom right, you can see how this can be used to render shadows. If we go close to these shadows, however, we get these jagged edges because we're only sampling pixels from way up here. So to fix this, we can blur the edges and have softer shadows. Here we have a scene with a backpack in a box and a light. We can render this scene from the light's perspective as a CubeMap. This can then be used to work out where the shadows should be. If we render exclusively the bright parts of the scene, then blur this part, and combine it back with the original scene, we get bloom. We can also visualize the parts of the scene where light is unable to reach. And if we overlay this back on the scene, we get ambient occlusion.